31 fascinating facts about the world's most mysterious cities. We like to think we know everything about the world and how we got here. However, there are countless ancient sites and cities that prove there's still so much to learn. Watch on to find out facts and mysteries about ancient cities from around the world that we still know very little about. A medieval mine. About 450 feet below the streets of Krakow is the Wieliczka salt mine, a medieval salt mine that first began operating in the 13th century. A salt metropolis. Workers spent so much time underground mining salt that they began carving elaborate sculptures and ornate chandeliers. Over the years, workers constructed a cathedral, stables, sleeping quarters, a restaurant, and even a health resort. A tourist hotspot. Today, more than 1 million tourists visit the underground salt city, which had been an operating salt mine until 2007. The site's now registered on the UNESCO list. An underwater monument. About 60 miles off the coast of Taiwan lies the Yonaguni Monument. The underwater rock formation was discovered in 1987, yet no one knows how the stone steps and altar got there. Some believe they're the remains of an ancient city, while others believe that the rocks formed naturally. A Pacific stone city. In Micronesia, a country made up of more than 600 islands in the western Pacific Ocean, there's a massive stone city called Nanmadol that was built by ancient Phoenicians. Impossible construction. The stone city is linked to canals and spreads over 100 tiny islands, and scientists can't figure out how ancient people possibly built the city without modern equipment. A legendary story. Local legend claims Nanmadol was built by 2 wizards who traveled to the area in a canoe with the help of a giant dragon. Another Egyptian mystery. While there are still so many mysteries about ancient sites in Egypt, scientists have been captivated by Hawara, an archaeological site of ancient Egypt, because Pliny, Herodotus, and Diodorus all mention a maze called the Labyrinth of Egypt at the location. A massive maze. According to Herodotus, the ancient labyrinth had been built 1,300 years before his writing. He also claimed the maze contained more than 3,000 rooms and several courtyards. Halted exploration. Unfortunately, there's no way of knowing if the myth of the Labyrinth of Egypt exists beneath Hawara. In 2008, archaeologists began scanning the ground. However, when they started finding evidence of walls and rooms underground, the Egyptian government immediately stopped the teams. The world's first temple. In 1963, the Göbekli Tepe was discovered in the southeastern Anatolia region of modern-day Turkey. The first excavation. The first serious excavation was held in 1996, and archaeologists discovered the site, which they determined to be more than 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. Archaeologists believe the site was a religious epicenter. Missing tools. Many of the massive walls and pillars made of solid stone at the ancient religious worship site weigh as much as 500 tons. Yet archaeologists have never found any stone-cutting tools around the site, indicating how the temple could have been constructed. A strange place for a house. In the beginning of the 19th century, explorers began finding evidence of houses buried underneath the sand of the vast Taklamakan Desert. An ancient kingdom. The Lulan kingdom had been written about in the Book of Han. According to the text, Lulan was abandoned by its people in the 5th century CE because of the arid climate and a series of sieges. The mummies. During the 1980s, archaeologists returned to the site to try and find out more about the desert city. They found several mummies with reddish blonde hair and European features that had been preserved by the dry air. An ominous name. Taklamakan is believed to come from a Persian phrase meaning you can go into it but you can't come out. However, some archaeologists believe the desert got its name from another Turkish phrase meaning place of ruins. Made for refuge. Naurs is a subterranean city in northern France. It was built to provide protection from enemy invasions and attacks. In case of emergency. The underground city had 200 miles of tunnels that connect 300 rooms where the medieval villagers hid during emergencies. An Allied soldier haven. Ours was forgotten for hundreds of years. However, during World War II, Allied soldiers used the underground city to recover after the Battle of Somme. The legend. According to local legend, a giantess named Sasuna built the structure. Sasuna allegedly carried the massive stones by stacking them on top of her head. Never touched the ground. Archaeologists also found evidence providing that people didn't walk on the ground of the city. Instead, they walked across the city's rooftops. What's in a name? According to Herodotus, Heracleion got its name because it was the first Egyptian city that was visited by Hercules. Visited by historical celebrities. In the story of the Trojan War, Paris and Helen stopped at the city on their way to Troy. They were turned away by the city guard as he field Menelaus. Helen's husband would attack them for aiding the pair. A Mesoamerican city. Near modern-day Mexico City lies the remains of Teotihuacan, a city that was built more than a millennium before the Aztec period. Modern living. Teotihuacan was one of the largest cities in the world with a population of over 125,000 people. To house that many people, citizens lived in multi-story dwellings similar to apartment buildings. Advanced architecture. The 32-square-mile city was particularly advanced with mathematically precise architecture. In the center of the city lies the Pyramid of the Sun, the third largest pyramid in the world. A reflection of the stars. The Pyramid of the Sun lines up with the Temple of the Moon and the Temple of Quetzalcoatl. Together, the buildings line up exactly with Orion's belt. Subterranean living. Frisians built Derinkuyu, an ancient multi-level city built underground in the Derinkuyu district of Nevşehir province, Turkey. The subterranean city was home to shops, houses, stables, and even wineries. The population. Derinkuyu extends about 200 feet below the subterranean surface and was large enough for about 20,000 people to live with their livestock. A safe zone. Derinkuyu was later expanded by Cappadocian Greeks, who used the city as protection from Mongol and Arab invasions. It was used in times of emergencies up until the 1920s. Check out these other videos from Let Me Know. If you haven't made the move to subscribe to our channel, all you need to do is click on that red subscribe button. Thank you for watching.